Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. My name is Faye. I'm a yoga teacher based in Miami, Florida, and in this video, I'll be taking guys with me to teach a yoga class. I teach every Wednesday at 6:30 at a yoga studio called Flux. I always say that I'm a yoga teacher in my intros, and I thought, why not bring you along to show you what it's like and how I prepare, I execute, finish off a class. So if that sounds good to you, keep on watching. So the first part of teaching a yoga class is, of course, preparing the flow. Before, I used to prepare my classes and actually write down each individual pose in words, and I would bring that to class. And it was hard for me because the booklet would be on the floor and I would be standing up trying to look down at what I wrote as I instructed the class. When I wrote it out in words, it was confusing because some poses are hard to explain, some stretches are hard to explain, so I would just make up my own name for the pose, and sometimes it would work and I would remember, and sometimes it wouldn't work and I wouldn't remember what that even was, so I just have to make up something on the spot. Eventually, I switched over to using stick figures to draw out a demonstration of what I was doing, which is so much easier for me because I can easily look down, see the stick figure, and mimic whatever I wrote down. I also like to prepare my sequence ahead of time because it keeps me on track. Sometimes I start with the sequence and then I do what I feel is right. Or sometimes I stick to exactly what I planned because everything is going exactly the way I need to. It really depends on the students. So if I see the students are struggling, I'm not going to stick to the flow because that's what I prepared. I'm going to adjust and make sure that I'm serving my students in the best way that I can. It's really funny because when I first started bringing my sequences to class, I was kind of embarrassed because I thought, oh, I'm a yoga teacher, I should have my class memorized, I should have the flow memorized of what I'm doing. But I thought about it. When you go to the doctor's office, they don't have your medical history memorized. They're looking at it on the computer, on the database. When you go to a lawyer, he doesn't have the entire case memorized. He's looking at his brief. So instead of putting so much pressure on yourself, if you're ever public speaking, don't feel bad about having notes, references, a sequence, things written out that you can look at and read from, because memorization does not prove that you are skilled or not skilled in a craft. It's how you deliver the information that you prepared, not how well you memorize the information, if that makes sense. So second thing is I like to arrive early. It gives me time to land. I'm usually a late person, I'm not gonna lie. If you're one of those late people, comment below, give me a like, let me know I'm not alone. And if you're the punctuality police, all right, you could claim your spot too. Show yourselves, raise your hand. I like to get to my class early so I can land, so I can have time to prepare the class, put my things away, set up anything that needs to be set up, and allow myself to decompress. Make time for you to take your time. Because if you're in a rush, it's dangerous when you're driving because your mind is not on the road, it's on getting to where you need to be, which can cause an accident with scrambling as you get there. And instead of preparing yourself, maybe going over your notes or your sequence, that panic carries into and will reflect in your presentations. I also like to arrive early to greet my students as they come in. I like to be sitting at the desk, asking them how their day is, how they're doing, telling them what they'll be needing for the class, if they need any props, showing them where to get them in the back. If somebody is new, welcoming them, asking them if they have any injuries, if they practiced yoga before. It's good to arrive early, not only for yourself, but so you can welcome the people that you'll be presenting to, and that you can keep in mind anything that you need to know about any individual student. I play R&B music in my yoga classes. It's my favorite genre. It makes me feel so good, and it really goes with the sequences that I create. And I always get asked for my playlist at the end of my classes, which I love because it means that my playlist was popping. I don't know if you know how that feels when you play music in the car for your friends and they're like, ooh, whose phone is this? You don't want it to be the other way around where it's like, whose phone is this? Who's playing that? Sometimes I create a flow and look for songs with lyrics that incorporate it. So if the theme is self-love, I might play Myself and I by Beyonce, for example, or Naked by Ella Mai. When there is time that we pause and stretch and breathe, the lyrics will encourage that theme. And students notice it, not because they like the song, but the way that they hear it. I don't know if you're like me. This is the way that I am. I can fall in love with a song because I heard it at a really good time of my life, or I saw a really good dancer perform to it, or in a scene of a movie or a TV show that's really compelling. And same thing goes for my students. They might not have liked the song before or never heard of it before or heard another rendition of it during a part of the class, and then they want to know the name of it because wow, it really hit them different in that experience. As I teach, I start in the front of the room to demonstrate so everybody can see, but as we start turning and moving around the mat, I move with the class so they don't have to crank their necks in uncomfortable positions to follow along with what I'm doing. If we're moving to the left, I'll move to the left side of the room. If we're facing the right side, I will move to the right so I can demonstrate in a way that everybody can see me. It's something that I'm working on as a teacher, honestly, because at first you feel like you want to stay glued to your mat. That's how I felt in the beginning, like I need to demonstrate everything. But when you stay stuck to your mat, you kind of baby your students because they're not used to training their ears and figuring out the positions for themselves. They're used to looking at you the whole time. The earlier you get off your mat, the more they get used to verbal cues and doing the poses themselves. Whenever I see somebody struggling to follow my cues, I give them encouragement. So let's say I say, inhale, reach your hands up overhead, and someone doesn't do it, or they might do it and look around because they're not sure if that's the right thing to do. I validate and confirm their position, like, yep, there you go. So they know, yes, you're doing the right thing. You're with the class. You're not lost. I didn't record myself cleaning up the room, but I always clean up, we mop the floor in between classes to keep it clean. Some people are sweaty. Some people just came from the beach. I collect my things and then I greet the students coming into the next class. It's a small studio. It's a boutique studio. So you see the same people over and over, and then I go on my way. So that's how I teach my class. If you guys liked this video, let me know. I thought I'd open up a little bit, do another vlog, because I know that you guys liked the Joshua Tree vlog. I think I'm gonna do some more vlogs. Maybe my next video will be an outing. I'm trying to go out more this year. Comment below, do you do well public speaking or leading a group or leading a class, or do you get really nervous? I have to say I'm a little bit of both. I do well in front of the camera. I do well in front of a crowd, but on the inside, I'm going insane. And when I say that, people are like, what are you talking about, Faye? You do so well in front of the camera. When you're in front of a group of people, I couldn't even tell that you were nervous. And the reality is that I am nervous, but the reason I'm doing it is more important than the feelings of insecurity or shyness or nervousness. When your why is strong enough, you will push past all the foolishness that's trying to distract you and trying to prevent you from fulfilling the purpose that you have. Follow me on social media. Here's my Instagram and my TikTok. Subscribe if you haven't already. Watch my last video. I talked about 3 authors you should know about. And until the next time, I hope you act accordingly. Bye. I know.